Okay, today is Friday. It's 6:41 p.m. It is June 5th. Now, the stop loss bug bit me again. Okay, and and the lack thereof is a tremendous handicap in my trading. Okay, uh, and what I need to do. See, now that I'm thinking about it, trading for me, I don't know about other people. Trading for me is becoming more familiar with it, so that it forms into something, right? So there's two ways to make diamonds. Okay, there's two ways to make diamonds in the lab. Okay, one of the ways is but they have a commonality. Okay, both require seed. Okay, one way is to use a high pressure system. Okay, high pressure system um, where high pressure and heat is applied. Okay, onto so what happens is people who wants to make diamonds will have a cube. Will have a cube, and within that cube there is a seed diamond uh, surrounded by surrounded by carbon. Okay, pure carbon, and then that cube is placed inside a high pressure, high heat environment, and so the temperature is elevated. So and then pressure is applied on that cube, and then when that cube is under sufficient amount of pressure and sufficient amount of temperature, and then a time is given, what will happen is the carbon inside that cube will uh, will form into a diamond crystal structure. Okay, and after a certain time of heat and pressure, the a diamond is grown that way, right? And so certain impurities are placed in to create its own a distinctive color, right? And so then that's one way of doing it. Now the second way of doing it is this: they take a slice of diamond, a pure diamond, and then place it on top of a a plate, and then inserted into. So what happens is it's a semiconductor manufacturing kind of a situation where a plasma type of environment is created, or high heat is created, where it spittles carbon into the existing diamond, and at a specific temperature and at a specific chemical structure, what it would do is the atoms will start to collect on top of it and start to grow, and that growth has a definitive a diamond type of structure, and it grows. Okay, I so it's not diffusion. It seems to be like encapsulation. Is it encapsulation? I'm not sure what it is. And so it's essentially um, it's not doping, but it's some sort of okay. So what are the two types of diamond gradation? It's called chemical vapor deposition. Okay, so it's chemical is deposited. So it's a CVD process, which is the same thing in the high tech industry, right? So they're taking essentially rocks, creating into a vapor, and then depositing onto another rock, which is silicon, right? That's why it's semiconductor, right? Semiconductor silicon, right? Silicon dioxide is an insulator, right? So, a diamond is created in two different ways. Okay, that's how it's created. All right, and um, so I was so engrossed into it, I forgot what I was going to talk about. Okay, was I going to talk about Oh, oh yeah, the stop loss. Yeah, yeah, stop loss. So I forgot about it. I forgot about it again. I keep forgetting about it because I forget about it because my mental capital is low at the time. So essentially that's what happened today. My mental capital at the time, because I was trading, maybe I shouldn't have traded the Asian market, so that I could have been more fresher. That's probably the reason why. And maybe all I have to do is just trade a European session. All I have to do is trade a European session, and then if I need to, then I can trade the U.S. market. And so what happened was, now I'm gonna expand upon it. Okay, I'm gonna expand upon it. There's some validity in Big Bang Theory. There's some validity in Big Bang Theory, right? Scientists talk about the way that the universe expands, right? Big Bang. It's created based on a seed, and then that seed explodes and expands and expands and expands. So the subject matter expertise is required, has a couple of things with the experience and the knowledge. Okay, the experience and knowledge is a forever expanding kind of thing, right? So that's why they talk about. They talk about the amount of experience. But the thing is, here's the situation. Some companies will merge together experiences, and then collectively they say, well, we have this much experience. But that type of experience is misleading, right? It's misleading, okay? Because if you have a chess player, you have 1,000 people with 1 year of experience in chess, and then you have Magnus Carlsen, who has 20 years of experience as in chess, and he's a grandmaster. And you put these 1,000 people head to head against Magnus Carlsen, every one of them will lose every time. Every time they're going to lose for years until they get to the point where these individuals get up to his level, right? So the experience of somebody who has 20 years of experience versus 1,000 years of experience, right? People say that they want to brag that they have 1,000 years of experience, but the 1,000 years of experience is only 1 year multiplied by 1,000 times instead of somebody who has 20 years of experience with fundamental brain matter that connects interconnect things with different types of experience. And so what I've noticed that there is some validity into Big Bang Theory, and Big Bang Theory is essentially there is no seed when you have out of sight, out of mind. Okay, out of sight, out of mind. Okay, out of sight, out of mind means that there's really no thinking about anything, and so that subject matter does not exist in the consciousness of the brain. Okay, in the consciousness, and so so in order in order for somebody to have in order for somebody to have a solid consciousness of trading concepts is to elaborate on it, create a big bang kind of thing, right? So there is that little seed, just like making a diamond, and that seed grows as the thoughts increases. Okay, as the thoughts increase, it forms and develops. Okay, and so then I thought about how the brain works. Okay, the brain works this way. People say that the brain is very similar to the arm muscle, and muscle memory is valid. Okay, and I can see that. Okay, somebody who constantly lifts like boulders will tend to have a thicker, will have a stronger muscle than somebody who sits at a desk and trades all day, right? And so that is a clear distinction. The muscle memory of somebody who's been lifting boulders all day will be different than the muscle memory of somebody who's been sitting in front of a computer day trading. Okay, so those are the two different types of muscle memory, and the muscle memory is valid. There's some factual thing about it. Okay, so then I thought to myself, okay, so then uh, I have this muscle memory, a partial muscle memory, when I really care about it, when it matters. But when it really matters subsides as time progresses and my success increases, and I tend to lapse into not using the stop loss. Whereas I know that if I use a stop loss, then I essentially preserve my mental capital and allows me to trade longer because that mental capital, I so the financial capital follows the mental capital. Okay, it emerges into the mental capital. Okay, somebody who has strong mental capital generally will have who is steering towards a financial financial capital will tend to have a strong financial capital as long as the strong mental capital is there, right? So I forgot. I keep forgetting to use the stop loss, and keep forgetting the importance of the stop loss. Okay, and I want to make sure that I remember it for the rest of my life. Each and every time that I make a trade, I want to make sure that I use it, no matter what. Okay, but what is it going to change my behavior? Okay, what is it going to? So I suppose what I need to do is, what is it going to change my behavior? What? Um, how do I associate with something that permanently changed my thinking? What is it about stop loss? What is it? What will permanently change my thinking about stop loss? What? Okay. What will permanently change my thinking about stop loss? What? Okay. So the only thing I can do is ask God. I have to ask God. God, what will permanently change the way that I think and do about stop loss? Okay, what's going to do that? So, which means what I want to be able to do is use the stop loss every trade that I make. That's the goal. That's the goal that I have. So how do I change my behavior? Okay, I change it. I heard changing a behavior uh, works in two ways. The usage of it, I need to make it easier to use. And then second part is anything that is a detractor, I can make it further away. Okay? Right? So that means what I need to do is this. Okay, so that means that if I were to rearrange, so when I make a trade, here's what I have to do. Okay, so here's what I do. So when I make a trade, I'm looking for the trade. I'm looking for the entry. That's the first step. Okay, that's the first step that I'm taking. So when I'm looking for a trade, I'm looking for the entry point. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. So this I want to permanently change my behavior right now. I want to change it. Within the next couple of days, I want to permanently change my behavior so that I never revert back to something else. I want to cross that bridge. I want to burn the bridge. Okay, I want to cross it and burn the bridge so that I never go back. Okay? That's what I want to do. So it's like, so I suppose it's very similar to like getting a criminal record. It's forcing me. I can't get a job anywhere. So the only thing I can do is work for an owner who's a Christian who allows me to work there. But I can't work anywhere else. It's impossible. It's not possible. Okay? So I can permanently sever my ties with whatever I need to do. Whatever I need to do, I need to make sure. Okay? But what I have to do is what I need to do is put stop loss at the forefront of any trading so that I do that first, no matter what. So when I look at a situation, I say, oh, look, stop loss is right there. So I look at that first. And then I look for something else. But when I set it, then I have to know what it is. Okay? So in order for me to permanently change my behavior, I have to make sure that I put the stop loss first. Okay? That's what I need to do. It's the first thing that I need to do. But it can't be the first thing I need to do because I'm looking for a setup. Okay, I'm looking at the price and saying, okay, so I'm looking for this particular thing so that I can enter into the trade. Okay, I'm looking for a particular thing. So when I trade, essentially, when I trade, The first thing I want to do. So what I want to do is do. What I want to do is one, stop loss. Okay? Okay, I want to enter and then do a stop loss, right? So I want to enter and do a stop loss at the same time. Then take profit. That's what I want to do. I want to set that no matter what. I want to do that. That's a practice. So I want to do right when I enter, I want to put the stop loss and I want to put the take profit. That's what I want to do. That's the first step. Okay? And then monitor. Okay? So and then monitor the trade so that I can either take profit or close. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. As soon as I enter a trade, the first thing I need to do is obviously the first thing I do is enter, stop loss, take profit. That's it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's what I want to do. Okay, enter, stop loss, take profit. That's it. Okay, that's what I want to do. But when I'm analyzing it, now this is the step that occurs after I enter into trade. But by this time, I would have thought about where my stop loss is going to be, my entry point is, where my take profit is. Generally, I'm going to have an idea before I get into trade what those three things are, because there are things that I need to look at in order to enter into trade. If I'm not entering into trade, then there isn't really a need to look at the stop loss and take profit. Okay, so the entry point is going to be a gating factor here. The first thing is I need to look at the setup. That's the first thing. Okay, then I want to identify the entry. 3, stop loss. 4, take profit. These are the steps that I want to look at. I want to look at the setup. I want to identify it. Then I want to know where the entry point is. Okay, I want to know where the entry point is, and then I want to know where the stop loss is, and I want to know where the take profit is. Now this is the right way to do it. Okay, this is the right way. Okay, that's the right way of doing it, so that I never forget. I never want to place a trade, even if I don't need it. I want to make sure it's there. Okay, it's an insurance. Okay. So why do I carry around auto insurance? Why? Because it's the law. It's the law. You cannot drive without insurance. You cannot. It's the same thing as registration. You cannot drive without your car being registered. You cannot drive without a car. Okay? You cannot drive without a driver's license. You can't. Those are the things that you need. And so trading, you have to have a stop loss license. You have to have a stop loss license. You have to have a stop loss license, just like a driver's license, just like a registration, okay? Just like the insurance, auto insurance, okay? Just like auto registration, okay? Just like a driver's license, okay? So I need a stop loss license. You cannot trade without a stop loss license. You cannot, okay? I'm just talking to me. I'm not talking about everybody else. Other people can do whatever they want, but I cannot trade without a stop loss license. I want to make sure I make this clear. And may God bind me. May God program into me. May the lightning bolts come into my brain and fuse together my brain cells to have this always. I have to have a stop loss license. If I don't use a stop loss license, I cannot trade. Okay? I want to make sure that I have that solidified in my mind. I want to make sure my brain behavior has been programmed, and I want to make sure my physical body has been programmed. Okay, so how do I program it? How do I program it? So programming it is I suppose in two different ways. I saw people using good cop, bad cop. Okay, so the good cop is to steer a person in one direction. Okay, the bad cop is to steer the person in one direction. Push the person into one direction, And the good cop is to pull the person into one direction. That's what they do. That's the way. That's why they do it. Okay, that's what these people do. These people. Okay, those people, they do it that way. Okay, the good cop and the bad cop. The good cop pushes the person into this direction, and the good cop receives it into that area. Okay, so that's what they're doing. And so they're demonstrating. These people are demonstrating the good and the bad, and telling you what's going to happen. Okay, so so they're threatening your. They're literally threatening. They are literally threatening. Okay, they are. It's a vicious thing. They want to do that. They want to. They. Whoa. Okay, so now I want to make sure. I want to make sure, even if I'm like tired and sleepy, I want to use it because I know that it means success. Without it, it's not a success. I've demonstrated time and time and time again. So I need to demonstrate it. Because when I think about the stop loss, it's going to constrain my risk. It is telling me there's a so the stop loss constrains risk. Okay, that's what happens. Okay, that's what happens. That's what happens. Stop loss constrains risk. All right? It constrains risk. That's what happens. Stop loss constrains risk. Okay? Right? I was thinking about something and boy, whoa, whew, whew. So so this thought just comes in. It's like walking through a passage, day after day after day after that day, and then I was always pass through this particular part of the hallway. Okay, okay, and then one day, just like today, and I opened the door and realized what's behind that door. Okay, I realized there's a there's a hungry lion behind that door, and I opened it. Okay, and a lion is about to bite my head off. Okay, that's what I've noticed. Okay, so stop loss is now. See, here's a problem with that is that out of sight, out of mind. The principle of trading falls into just that simple statement: out of sight, out of mind. When I'm tired, it's out of sight, out of mind. Sure, I'm clicking it because there's a need to make money, even though I'm not ready, and I'm clicking it. Okay, but it's out of sight, out of mind. Okay, it's out of sight, out of mind. And so, how do I make sure that my mind is sufficiently set so that whatever happens, I always put stop loss at the forefront of my training? See, this is 5.5 years. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I'm telling myself this. Okay, I'm telling myself this. It cost me 5.5 years not using stop loss. Okay? And here I am, I'm watching YouTube and I'm seeing these repeat criminal offenders, and I'm seeing them, but they keep repeating the same thing over and over again, and I'm saying, why don't they do that? And then in trading, I keep doing the same thing that they're doing, which is I'm not using stop loss. And the only reason that I haven't been able to, I haven't been consistently profitable is because I'm sporadic in my use of the stop loss. Today is a prime example. Had I used a stop loss, even though my entry was incorrect, I could have just gotten out of that trade, okay, and minimized my loss. That's how important it is. Okay, so what I need to do is write down uh, these concepts so that I can understand it better, right? So essentially, I have a stop loss. and 5.5 years have passed. Stop loss is essentially what the stop loss essentially stops me from losing. Big. When I don't lose big, I can come back. If I lose big, I'm done. It's simple. All right. So now this leads me into like now when I enter a trade and I'm wrong, I need to exit the trade. Okay. This is an ongoing process that the intensity is lost. I lose my intensity when I'm making money, but I don't lose my intensity uh, I don't lose my intensity when I'm winning, when I'm like severely compromising financially. But when I'm making profits, I lose that intensity. Okay, and I fall back to my old habits. So it's like, essentially it's a cycle. It's a sine wave. Okay, it's a sine wave. So I get comfortable at 3% gain, and so I revert back to my old ways, and so I lose. Then I change my thinking, so that then I bring it back up, because my intensity is back, and so it is a sine wave of the intensity that's in me. Okay, that's what it is. That's why I don't use the stop loss. That's why it's been 5.5 years and I still can't. That's why it's still 5.5 years and I still keep using it. Okay, it's not using the stop loss. It's been 5.5 years and I still have a problem using stop losses, and that's why I'm losing. So within the past 2 weeks, I lost three big losses. I made three big losses because I haven't used the stop loss, because I'm not thinking about it. So it's because I'm trading alone. That's one of it. But what's happening is that sine wave just comes, and then it alters my thinking. Okay. So there's two thoughts in my mind. Okay. So when I'm successful multiple days, I become loose, and that causes me to lose. Okay. Loose is loose, but intense is a win. Okay. But intense is win. Okay. Loose is lose. Okay. That's what I get to when I'm like successful. I become loose. I lose. Okay. And so I heard about these people who are like who make a big score. The next day they give it all back because their mindset is all wrong. Okay, that's what's happening. It's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. That's why I'm losing here. So chances are, if I trade well, okay, chances are if I trade well, that's why the next day I want to get it back. So I go big and I don't have stop loss. I lose. It's simple. It explains it. The data is telling me the data that I've collected. The data that I've collected is already telling me what's going on. Okay, that's what's happening. The data that I've collected is telling me what's going on. But when I'm like intense and I want to get things working, then I use these things in a proper manner. Okay, and if I don't use these things in proper manner, I'm going to lose. But it just never registered into my mind, even though it's been 5.5 years. Okay, it's been 5.5 years, but the intensity dissipates as I gain profits, and then that intensity builds when I lose. Okay, right? Essentially, that's what's been going on for the past 5.5 years. Okay, so I need to make sure that there's a couple of things that I need to make sure that I understand. Okay. Okay. Intensity is a win. Loose is loose. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so now that I'm down 1.8%, hopefully the intensity is there. Now I'm looking back, and I'm looking back this week, just looking at just the data for this week, which is a representation of what happened like for the past 5.5 years. Okay, and I got into that situation because I was up 2.8%. I was like so happy, right? And when I got to the when I'm in that mood, I tend to make mistakes. Okay, I didn't have to go that big either, but I did. Okay, and I keep adding it to something that didn't make any sense. Okay, and so I tend to. So this is a reason that I'm losing. Okay, this is the precise reason that I'm losing. Okay, that's the reason why. Okay, I am not aware. So there's a couple of things that I need to be aware of. The strategy is essentially a strategy, which is a thought out, pre-formatted, logical kind of thing that happened. Whether my mental capital is fresh or my mental capital is low. So I see. I haven't placed a significance. I haven't put significance into the the significance of the mental capital. Okay, I have not. I have not placed. I have not made the mental capital uh, significant in my trading. I haven't made that. I haven't. That's why I keep losing. Okay, and some other people say this. Okay, sometimes it happens. It comes and goes because at a certain period I'm intense, but at a point where I can relax, I relax. But that's precisely the point where I should be intense. When I'm relaxed, I should be intense. Okay? But I forget that. I forget because I'm in a good mood. So good mood causes me to uh, causes me to uh, do things that I'm not supposed to do, right? Like not using stop loss. Not using stop loss forces me, causes me to not think about the risk size, okay, and then not even think about the proper entry points, right? And so what I do is it actually is pure. It's primarily driven by it is the losing portion of my thinking, of my trading is primarily driven by the mood that I am in. Okay, the mood that I am in is determining whether I use the proper procedure for trading. If I'm intense, I will follow each one of them intensely. But when my results are showing me the positivity, what I would do is I'll skip some, okay, and that's the point where I'm losing. Okay, so let's get this. Let's make this. See if I understand what I said to myself. Okay, so let's see if I understood what I said to myself. Okay, so uh, when um, when the trading isn't going well, I tend to follow every step of the things very critically. But when trading is going well, I tend to not follow the things intensely. That's the problem. Okay, so that's the problem. So what do I need to follow? Okay, so the first step is identify the setup. Okay, so define entry, define stop loss, define take profit. Okay? So these are the things that I need to constantly look at. So I'm looking at it. I'm looking at this point. Where would my stop entry point be? And then where would my stop loss be? So I define that one. I look at what two is. I look at what my three is, and I look at where my four is. Okay, so I have to always have this in mind. I have to always think about this. I have to always, 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 always. Okay, because two and three work together. Because it's risk. It's going to tell me what the risk is going to be. Okay? 2 and 3 is going to define what the risk is going to be. And only here I can decide whether I scale in or not. Okay? So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at right here. Okay? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? I look at the setup. I define the entry. And I define the stop. And I define the take profit, and out of that, I know what the risk is. Okay. So today's June 5th. Okay, so well, I'm gonna see if I can sustain this throughout this week, and I'm gonna repeat this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna practice this week, and then next week, and see what the result is. Okay, so this is very, very simple, and this is very, very simple. This is very, very simple. It's gonna be called it's gonna be essentially called so there I'm gonna create a holiday called stop loss. So there's a Memorial Day, there's a stop loss day. I'm gonna create a holiday called stop loss day. Okay, so it's a holiday. I'm gonna create a holiday. It's a national stop loss day. I'm gonna create that because that's the key. That's the key right there. That's critical. So that's the first part. There's 3 parts. The second part is if I made a mistake, exit now. Okay? Just exit. Just exit. Just pay the piper. Exit. Okay? Just exit. Don't let chance play into this at all. Just exit. If I made a mistake. Don't wait for stop loss. Just exit. Okay? If I made a mistake. I am by no means bound to stay in the trade. Okay? That's all I need to do. I am not bound to the trade at all. So I just need to exit the trade. Okay, I just need to exit the trade. That's what I need to do. That's the second one, okay? Then I need to make sure that if I'm tired, I need to check. So I need to make sure that my mental capital is still valid. That's what I need to do. Okay. So these are the three things that I need to work on, okay, for the next couple of weeks, and see what the results are, okay? All right. Now it should be positive. Now I'm gonna work on setups. Now I'm gonna work on setups and see how I can improve on my setups, okay? So that I'm gonna improve I'm gonna study it in quite in detail, so that it's gonna help me prepare for this Sunday, the first day of trading day for this week. Okay. So right. So essentially, what that means is I'm gonna it's a stop loss holiday. It's a holiday. Stop loss holiday. I created a. Okay, so today is the day. Okay, so today is the national. June 5th is the national stop loss holiday. Okay. All right. June 5th is the national stop loss holiday.